administration says it detected a tremor with a magnitude of 3.4 at 5:29 p.m. Japan time on Saturday. Its epicenter was located at 41.36 degrees north and 129.0 east. The quake's depth was 0. Chinese officials suspect it was caused by an explosion. The epicenter is located near North Korea's nuclear test site. South Korea's meteorological agency has detected a tremor, but it says it might have been from a natural cause. Japan's meteorological agency says it has not detected any tremors. It's believed the size of the tremor is smaller than the tremor caused by a nuclear test on August 3rd. This was measured at a magnitude 6.3. All other previous nuclear test-related tremors exceeded magnitude 4.
Almost 2 weeks have passed since the UN Security Council imposed the strongest resolution yet on North Korea for its latest nuclear and missile provocations. And among the many countries starting to implement these sanctions, Pyongyang's closest ally China has announced its own measures, and they are strong and wide-ranging. Lee Ji-won reports.
China has started moving to implement the latest UN Security Council resolution on North Korea. Beijing's Ministry of Commerce announced Saturday that it'll halt all exports of liquid natural gas and gas condensate to North Korea. It stated on its website that it has ceased all procedures in exporting such products, and all such products will be put on a list of prohibited export items in the future. A ban on textile imports from Pyongyang also comes into effect right away, and products that had been signed for before the resolution passed must complete the import process by December 10th. Beijing will also limit exports of refined petroleum products to Pyongyang from October 1st, in line with the export cap imposed by the new sanctions. Resolution 2375, passed unanimously on September 11, authorizes all UN member states to limit their refined oil exports at 500,000 barrels from October 1st to the end of the year, and at 2 million barrels annually from next year, a move expected to sever 55% of the regime's supply. China will suspend such exports once the total volume approaches the ceiling. The ministry added the exported refined oil products must be used only for civil purposes and not for North Korea's nuclear development programs or other activities banned by the UN Security Council. Crude oil, which makes up the biggest share of energy exports to the north, is not included in the trade ban. While Resolution 2375 freezes the amount of crude oil Pyongyang can import at 4 million barrels a year, an estimated 5.5 million barrels is expected to have been exported to the north in 2016.
I'm Tommy McNeil reporting. China announced Saturday that it will limit exports of petroleum products to North Korea to comply with the United Nations Security Council sanctions on North Korea's nuclear and missile development programs. Meanwhile, North Korean Foreign Minister Ri Yong-ho suggests Kim Jong-un is considering testing a hydrogen bomb over the Pacific in response to President Trump's threat at the United Nations to totally destroy North Korea. VOA's Bill Gallo reports.
Yang Uk, a senior researcher at the Korea Defense and Security Forum in Seoul, says detonating a nuclear-tipped missile over the Pacific Ocean would be a logical final step by North Korea to prove the success of its weapons program. However, it would be extremely provocative and carry huge risks. The radioactive fallout could be significant, as well as the diplomatic backlash around the world. David Albright, founder of the nonprofit Institute for Science and International Security, said if Kim carries out such a test, it will be a tipping point for China and may prompt many other countries to demand an end to the regime. And Joshua Pollack, editor of the Washington-based Non-Proliferation Review, believes Pyongyang's next step may be a test of its ICBM at full range into the Pacific.
From his headline-grabbing verbal jabs at North Korea,
Rocket Man is on a suicide mission for himself and for his regime.
To his tough talk on Iran,
we cannot let a murderous regime continue these destabilizing activities.
To his 4-day marathon of meetings with world leaders, President Donald Trump, with his blunt, some would say simplistic style, is pushing for diplomatic breakthroughs that have evaded even the most seasoned statesmen.
We're looking seriously at peace and maybe ultimately peace in the whole of the Middle East.
UN Week has given Trump's foreign policy team an opportunity to find its footing. UN Ambassador Nikki Haley, National Security Advisor H.R. McMaster, and Vice President Mike Pence are at his side at every meeting with foreign heads of state. So too with Secretary of State Rex Tillerson, who after a slow start is handling a heavy load, including a sensitive meeting with Iran's Foreign Minister Javad Zarif, who had called Trump's General Assembly address hate speech.
There was no yelling. We didn't throw shoes at one another. It was not an angry tone at all. It was a very, very matter-of-fact exchange of how we see this agreement very, very differently.
Trump wrapped up his 4 days of diplomacy with the Japanese and South Korean leaders by his side in a show of unity as he announced tough new sanctions on North Korea.
Today I'm announcing a new executive order I just signed that significantly expands our authorities to target individuals, companies, financial institutions that finance and facilitate trade with North Korea.
Observers say Trump's swashbuckling foray into diplomacy is putting his emerging foreign policy team to the test.
Well, they're riding a bucking bronco. It's very hard to get your feet settled when the president isn't always so settled. These tweets and sort of bursts of statements make it very hard to have a kind of coherent policy. That said, I think it is the case that for the most part, things are starting to settle down.
As he departs the UN, Trump has emphatically put his own stamp on U.S. foreign policy, one that is still evolving, but coming into clearer focus. Peter Heinlein, VOA News, the United Nations.